All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new edition of Pod by the Bay, proudly presented by the Bay Area Examiner. I'm your host, Nathan Bond. Joining alongside me, Seth Varnadore, and filling in for Nostradamus, Robert Steve. We've got Anthony Vito um, joining us tonight. Lots of stuff to kind of go over. Let's start with the highlights. Uh, Former USF wide receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling and former USF center Austin Ryder are Super Bowl champions. It is the 15th Super Bowl that the winning team has had a former Bull on it. So that's pretty awesome. They now each, Marquez Valdez-Scantling has 2 back-to-back. Austin Ryder has 3. He is the only 3-time Super Bowl champion for your South Florida Bulls. JPP has 2. Jaquin Williams has 1. Quika Mitchell has 1. Super Bowl champion BJ Daniels obviously has 1. But Austin Ryder, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, congratulations. Looked a little dicey, very boring game. And then Usher turned it up for everybody. So thank God for that. But super exciting game. Super awesome to see a couple of former Bulls win. And then also shout out former Bull Chris Oladokun, who was also a back-to-back Super Bowl champion as a practice squad quarterback for the Chiefs as well. So really cool, really fun to see on Sunday night. MVS catch a touchdown for the first time ever, a Bull scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl, which Alabama has never done.
Yeah, getting our wake, Alabama losers.
God, chumps. Fold the program.
Well, a lot of them are leaving, so maybe.
They must have known.
Oh, shoot, we have USF on the schedule? Oh, I'm going to the NFL. Smell you later, Mr. Grubb.
Jeez Louise. So that's the fun part. There's also slightly breaking news. If you guys were in the Ponderosa section of the Discord, if you were a Patreon, you knew about this probably happening yesterday. USF now has a new running backs coach after former running back coach Matt Merritt took the job down in Miami.
Interesting, though. That's not been officially announced. I think he could end up at Tennessee.
Really?
I think it's a possibility.
Uh-oh. Think Mario got cold feet, or what's going on there?
Tennessee's running backs coach left for the NFL.
Ah.
So, I don't know. Could happen, but that's something to keep an eye on. But maybe they're just waiting to announce. I don't know why it hasn't been announced by Miami yet.
Yeah, because this happened last Tuesday.
Yeah, a week ago.
So a week ago. That's interesting. And USF has already hired their new running backs coach. Seth, can you expound on Micah James and what he can bring to the table as a former offensive lineman to the running back room?
So Micah James, when we were first started to look at putting a list together, some people were like, do you guys have a hot board? We were looking at Tennessee guys, was kind of the first place I went to look. And there was a guy, Aston Walter, who played running back. So I thought he would be a fit, possibly. I saw Micah James, but I saw he was an offensive line guy and thought, okay, well, probably not. Just because, now running back coaching position is, you can kind of have some flexibility there. And we talked about that in the Ponderosa a little bit. There's some flexibility there, but didn't really think too much of it. Then Stieg said yesterday, I believe, that, the name started coming up a little bit, and he saw the name around a little bit. And then I went and looked on the Tennessee site, and his name was gone. So that's usually a good indication, which I know it was there 2 days before because I saw it and remembered it. So looked in his background a little bit more. So he played offensive line at Middle Tennessee State, and they've been somewhat up tempo at times. Like a couple years ago, they were really high up tempo with the same head coach who was there forever, Stockstill. So, and then he was a GA at UCF in 2018 under Heupel. Went to UMass, I believe, as the offensive line coach. Then to Utah State as the offensive line coach for a couple of years. And then last February, a year ago, got hired as an analyst at Tennessee. So he was at Tennessee this whole season as offensive line or an offensive analyst. But, you know, the one thing we heard, when we started reaching out to people about names, we didn't get a lot of names back, but, you know, we heard a couple things that they thought were important. You know, we thought scheme, because they said, you know, in our discussions, like, this is not the easiest scheme for somebody new to come in and learn and hit the ground running. So somebody that has some familiarity with the scheme was going to be important. And they seemed like, and this is what we said yesterday in our piece we put on Patreon, they wanted to make the hire pretty quick, and a day later, the hire is made. So he fits what they wanted. Right? They want to get somebody quick, somebody that has familiarity with the scheme. That's great. Running back, I think a guy that's got offensive line experience, coaching it, understanding the running game at that level can really help the running backs understand it. And also, obviously, pass protection, you'd imagine he'll be pretty good at teaching that. So, you know, I like to hire. It's not a traditional hire in terms of hiring an offensive line guy, but, you know, sometimes you'll get staffs, and Vito and I were talking about it before we jumped on. Like, sometimes you'll hire your recruiter at running backs coach. Sometimes you'll hire him at tight ends coach. Like, it depends. You know, those are seemingly the two positions. But, you know, this is another set of eyes for the offensive line too. So if Coach Hoodie wants to be on the field, you've got a great set of eyes up in the box now, or vice versa. So I think it could really help the running game to have this perspective. Basically another offensive line coach out there. So I like to hire from that perspective. I think he can be additive in terms of scheme. Utah State. So it was with Blake Anderson, right? That's the guy's name.
Yeah.
Really respected offensive coach too. So like adding a little bit, maybe could add a little bit more flavor, or, you know, whatever. So really, really good hire in my opinion. You never know if these things will work out, but I think with the pedigree and the skill set he can bring, I like the fit, and I think it'll be should be beneficial for the USF running game. Yep.
And then, you know, a couple other kind of promotions were also announced today, today being Tuesday. Coach Hoodie is now the run game coordinator, also, as well as the offensive line coach. And then LaDamian Washington is now the pass game coordinator, as well as receivers coach. I assume there's some sort of pay bump in that.
That's got to be a good retention strategy, I'd imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
For Washington, especially, these guys had a pretty good year. I'd imagine little pay bump, little title increase helps retain those guys a little bit longer.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when the staff has been poached like 4 times in the first year that they've been here. You want to try to get your guys as cohesive and try to keep the band together as much as possible, especially, as you mentioned, so that the scheme is not the most conducive to outsiders. And the pool kind of shrinks every single time someone gets poached of who can kind of run this, and then you know, things can get wonky. So good job by them making this hire quick. They have a couple weeks before spring practice starts to kind of get everything in sync. Moving forward, I think, is probably the best way to put it. They've got their guys set for now, and we'll go from there.
And just before spring practice, which starts soon,
March 5th.
Yeah, I'll be here before you know it. After the year that was January, February is speeding on by, and it's a leap year.
Yeah, extra day. Jeez Louise. Real quick, wanted to touch on men's basketball. Let's see. When was the last time we talked? Last week? We talked after the Charlotte.
Last Monday, I believe, before the basketball game.
Okay. So they beat Rice. Another second half comeback on Saturday. I think they were down 12 at one point.
Down by 13 at the
13 and a
half.
half, yeah.
Down
it was
13 at the half.
38-25. Rice was shooting over 50% from the field. USF was not. They were about 30%. And then Steeg checked out. He had some other stuff. He had to go to Monster Jam. So he rightfully so had to leave, and then the Tides turned.
I just want to thank Effie Levy, friend of the show, USF, works in the personnel department at USF. Awesome job. He gave like a 25-minute clinic presentation instead of like an hour. So I was able to get out and watch the very end of the game on my phone in the hotel room. So that was nice.
Yeah. Andrew Warsaw, he went a little bit longer. We had this. It was super unfortunate. So we were at the coaches clinic and we had to split up because Uncle Luke couldn't show up. He couldn't.
Yeah.
He couldn't present at the Nike Coach of the Year clinic because of a sponsor issue. I guess he's sponsored by Adidas.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I just know they said in replacing Uncle Luke, Effie Levy.
Yeah. So Effie Levy was supposed to talk on Sunday. He moves up to Saturday. So then Seth and I had to split and divide and conquer. I went to Andrew Warsaw's little presentation, kind of behind the scenes of running a program. So it was interesting to say the least. And then Seth, you got a nice short and sweet presentation for that from Effie.
No fluff, no filler, but good information. So it was fun getting to see some USF guys and talking about their process. I think it only help us cover the program better. So
yeah, absolutely. I will say Andrew Warsaw saw me sit down. He goes, "Man, no live tweeting, all right?" I was like, "I'm just here to learn. I'm just here to learn, man." So that was good. We'll talk more about what we saw at the coaches clinic in a little short Ponderosa podcast after we're done recording this. So be sure to look out for that. But they beat Rice 69-65. They host Tulsa. By the time you're hearing this tonight at 7 p.m. They have won 9 in a row. They're 10-1 in the conference. They're first in the conference. They have a massive matchup on Sunday versus FAU, which I can only assume is going to be sold out if it hasn't already. But you got to get past Tulsa first. You cannot stub your toe. They're not good. I think they put up points, but I don't think they're very good. I think they've lost 3 in a row. It's been up and down for them. They used to be really good, and then they weren't. Let's take a look at their Ken Pom real quick.
So they turn the ball over a ton. They're fast though. It looks like.
Yeah. 170.
It's really great when you're fast and you turn the ball over. It's just like
they're 208
really fast and go 3 and out.
289. Yeah, but it's 289th in turnover percentage, 283rd in offensive rebound percentage. I'm wondering, do they press a ton or something? Because they're 79th in turning people over, and their tempo is 34th. Their adjusted tempo is 34th in the country.
Yeah, and they're top 60 in steal percentage, which is pretty good. Good defending the 3, but they have not. They're second in the just in conference play. They're second in tempo, but they've lost to UAB, North Texas, and Florida Atlantic. So, halfway decent teams. They beat Wichita, Rice, lost to SMU, beat UTSA, lost to Tulane, lost to Charlotte.
So they've only beaten the 3 worst teams in the league.
Correct.
And it looks like they're a team that thrives on getting free throws. 23% of their points are from free throws, which is 23rd in the country. So
And
it's gonna be one of those kind of games.
And their height is kind of similar to USF. So USF is 275th in the country in average height. Tulsa is 214. So both teams on the smaller side. But we shall see. They do have a dude that scores like 20 points a game. So that's a little scary. PJ Haggerty. I think he scored 20 plus points in 5 straight games. Excuse me. I can't believe I shorted him. 5 straight games. And he's fairly effective on 2-point shots. He hasn't hit a 3 in the month of February. So be ready for that. Seems like something may change there.
He is 7th in the country at fouls drawn per 40 minutes and 18th in the country in free throw rate. So, like, he's got a pretty decent true shooting percentage just because he gets to the line a ton.
Yep.
So, yeah. And he's shooting 81% from the line, 201 attempts from the line.
And he's good, 81% free throw shooter. So, do not want him at the free throw line.
Yeah, let him chuck. 25% 3-point shooter, 29% in conference play. So let him chuck.
Let him chuck. Here's a weird stat comparison. Tulsa and USF's overall stats, why I like Ken Palm a lot better, are relatively the same. And the only difference is 2 percentage points and 3-point field goals for the most part. And that's the difference between being 103rd in net and 193 in net. But like free throw percentage, 74 for Tulsa, 72 for USF. Points per game, 76 to 75. Opponent points per game, 73 to 68. Field goal percentage, 43 to 43, essentially. Like, it's really funny when we see the stats match up, but then you start getting to the nitty gritty and realize, oh, turnovers are an issue, or you're a couple percentage points better on free throws or 3-point field goals, and that's the difference between some of these games.
Yeah, and their offensive efficiency numbers are pretty bad. I'm guessing this is not a great. It looks like they have one guy that's a pretty good, maybe I'd say is above average 3-point shooter, Tyshawn Archie. Other than that, I mean, he's 42.9%. The next highest guy that's playing a bunch of minutes, like there's a Keaston Willis. He's 5 for 10, but he's not playing a ton of minutes. Next highest guy is shooting 33.7%, Isaiah Barnes. So, yeah, not a great shooting team. So those efficiency numbers lag a little bit, seemingly.
Yeah, we'll see how it kind of shakes out on Wednesday. Tough break having a game on Valentine's Day. I'm sure that the workers love that. I'm sure their wives and husbands love that, and I'm sure the coaching staff loves it as well. Not being able to be home for Valentine's Day. So we'll have more in depth on Thursday, basically recapping this Tulsa game while also previewing Sunday's FAU contest. So be on the lookout for that as well. A couple extra pods for the patrons this week as we kind of hash out the kind of coaches clinic and go super in depth on this here basketball team. Women's basketball beat Wichita State on Tuesday night. Finally, we don't want to talk about Saturday. Saturday sucked for them. I guess they could go on a run. I don't see it. I know prior to losing earlier last week that they were kind of still sort of penciled in as the team to win the conference tournament and sneak in with like a 15 seed. I don't particularly see that happening. They don't have it. That's just kind of plain and simple this year. They just don't have it. Moving right along on this edition of Pod by the Bay. Softball is 4-2 to start their season. No hit Bethune-Cookman in a 10-0 5-inning run rule victory in the second game of the season. And then lost to Oregon State and UF, and then bounced back on Monday with a win over Kansas to sit at 4-2. They've got 6 games this weekend. UIC, 2 against Boston College, 2 versus Purdue, and 1 versus Hofstra in Tampa this weekend. One of the benefits of living in Tampa early in the season for the bat and ball sports is you get a lot of home games right up front. So once again, being able to do that. I believe Peyton Dixon was on the AAC honor roll. Is that correct? I feel like I heard that.
Yes,
I'm gonna
that
go
is
ahead and
correct.
confirm.
Okay.
Did you talk about beating Michigan as well?
I did not.
Throw that one in there.
I forgot. 1-0 over Michigan.
That's a big one. Peyton Dixon, complete game shutout.
That's probably
Yes, I did. At lunch, we last Friday was at Miller's and saw a bunch of Michigan people who were there also eating Miller's, hanging out outside, enjoying the nice Florida weather. The beautiful thing about softball is they just play early season softball is you just play a ridiculous amount of games. And sometimes if you have one really good pitcher, they'll just play all weekend. And that's always remarkable for me. But yeah, they beat Michigan in a 1-0 pitcher's duel. And so they started out 3-0 and then had those 2 losses to Oregon State and Florida, but then bounced back versus Kansas.
Yep. And that no-hitter versus Bethune was 2 freshmen. Saying it was the first time in program history 2 freshmen combined for a no-hitter. So shout out to them. Great job. Ladies, Ken Erickson, we were told that the hitting was going to get fixed this year. We've seen a couple of good games, a couple of 1-0 squeakers. Hopefully it happens. That was the issue last year with a nice little sprinkle of some pitching. That was an issue. On the flip side for baseball, who starts the season on Friday, they get hit all day, every day. They just could not pitch to save their lives. That's going to be the big question mark. I think they're still going to be able to hit. They did lose Daniel Cantu. He is now at Florida State, so that's a dude right there in the middle of the lineup that you're going to have to replace. But they still have plenty of power, plenty of pop, basically up through the middle of the infield. That should be able to combat that a little bit. Drew Brutcher, if he puts it together in his senior year and is consistent, he's kind of turned in like Evan Longoria a little bit. He likes to chase sliders, and that's never fun. He used to be very patient his freshman year, even this sophomore year. I mean, a little antsy, a little too many strikeouts in key situations. But they face UConn, Louisville, and Indiana State all at home starting this weekend. Nice little tournament. They don't usually do that. It's usually like an opening 3-game set, but they've got 3 pretty good teams coming in. Obviously, UConn was the bane of USF's existence when they were in the same conference together. Jim Penders remains the best coach, not named Gino Auriemma, that's ever coached in the Big East or the AAC with USF. So exciting to see a couple of old Big East foes come into town. But they got to get the pitching fixed.
Do you think there's any thought to moving the Indiana State game time? It's at 1 p.m. on Sunday.
Oh.
I don't know. They probably can't just because it's travel,
right? Yeah.
9
a.m. How about?
Yeah, can we do an early match?
Let's see.
Yeah, I'd imagine that would be the reason because it would be. It'd be really cool if you could go from one to the other.
Yeah, I do know. Tickets to the FAU basketball game at noon will also get you into the game the baseball and softball games.
So softball playing the same day too.
Yeah. So
crap.
they cannot move the game up to 9 a.m. because Louisville and Connecticut play at 9 a.m.
No, switch them.
Now that could be a thought.
I mean, I'm just trying to help everybody out here. Switch them.
Yep. Get everybody to walk from one location to the other. I plan on being there on Saturday for the Louisville game, hanging out with some friends.
Okay.
So excited to see where it goes. The buddy I'm going with, last year we went to 2 games and they won both of them, so that'll be fun to see. And planning on going to the FAU game on Sunday, although I don't have a ticket, so maybe I won't.
Yeah, so you could go if they move the baseball game to 9 a.m. You could go baseball, basketball. The softball game starts at 2.
Yeah, then walk back over there.
So maybe you can get in after maybe a little bit late to softball, but sometimes basketball games are quick.
Especially if it's a quick game. Hot dog, popcorn, hot dog. That's the play. Popcorn at Yingling is ace, and then the hot dog at McEwen and the softball stadium are really good too.
Hey, I mean, Mike Kelly, come on, we got to figure it out here.
Yeah, let's just move some stuff around. Indiana State's not going to care.
Who cares if their plane's supposed to leave? Who cares if Louisville and UConn's planes are supposed to leave?
Do you think they want to go back to Indiana now? It's probably going to be cold.
I'm sure they got a charter flight.
Oh God, no.
You wanna no.
They probably have a connection.
The connection.
They're probably going to Denver first before getting home.
There's plenty of flights from Chicago to Bloomington or wherever.
Where does Breeze Airways go?
Yeah, we're in Terre Haute, Indiana. That's a hotbed of travel.
Go Sycamores. All right.
Yeah.
The Fighting Larrys.
Larry Bird, baby.
It's the first time since Larry Bird was at Indiana State, coincidentally, that they are ranked in the AP top 25. And who else is getting acknowledged in the AP top 25? Your South Florida Bulls men's basketball team. Stay paranoid.
Bulls.
Absolute rat poison. It makes no sense.
It's just so hilarious that, I mean, they can't keep getting away with it, but they just keep doing it.
Yeah,
and
like
they just steal everybody's soul, and they're still 103rd in net, but everyone's like, nah, that they know what they're doing. Chris Youngblood put up another 20. Cason Pryor had a double-double. He came back.
Guys, we are, and we're tied for the 3rd longest win streak in the country, with Yale and Colgate. Natural powerhouses of men's basketball. And then Connecticut and St. Mary's are each on 12-game winning streaks. So perennial NCAA tournament teams / reigning defending national champion Connecticut. Correct? Yeah, they won that last year. Or did I misremember that? I'm pretty sure they won it.
Who?
Connecticut.
Won the basketball? Is that right?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, and then St. Mary's, the Fighting Malik Fitz's.
Wait, sorry, I just got distracted. So Indiana State just lost today, so that's fun.
Oh no!
And they lost to Illinois State, so a couple of UICs. Did you ask if UConn won the championship?
Yeah, they won, right?
Yeah, they did. Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Absolutely.
I'll remember that because all during March Madness I was in Italy, so I just wake up and go okay, this happened. We had our flight back home the day of the national championship game. I woke up early enough to catch the ending of that game.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty wild. I was like, oh, good. Our friends at No Escalators are going to be ecstatic. I'm sure they won't, overdo it.
Did you know that Larry Bird actually played baseball at Indiana State for a game?
Just one?
Yeah, the coach told him real men play with balls this size and help the baseball and kept ribbing him. So he's like, I can play baseball. And he said, fine, come play baseball. One game. He went 1 for 2 with 9 putouts.
Wow.
He played first.
Yeah.
I expect him to be a pitcher for some reason.
2 RBIs, baby. So there you go.
Larry Legend, what can't he do? Keep it back healthy.
Walk briskly. Yeah.
Tall man.
Continually put together a good basketball team.
It's tough out there.
Yeah. God bless.
All right, I'm gonna do this really, really quick and in loving memory of Stieg. Men's tennis. He's just at a show. I don't know why I said it like that. Men's tennis is 5-3 this past week. They lost to Stetson on Friday. They lost. They beat Charlotte. Had a doubleheader. Lost to Stetson later that evening. Lost to then Miami and then beat Georgia Southern and Florida Gulf Coast. So cat closed the door on me and that terrified me. Sorry. So men's tennis is looking pretty good. And Alvin Tudorico got AAC player of the week for his look. He's ranked as usual. Women's tennis went hold up. I'm going to cut this out. Women's tennis is 4-3 this past week. They beat Stetson, lost to FAU, and then beat North Texas back on Sunday. So tennis looking to get back on track. The one thing that I'm starting to notice with this athletic year is almost every program is above 500, and it's looking like a lot of positive momentum going forward. I think men's tennis or men's soccer was the only one. Men's or women's soccer didn't go above 500, which is the only one so far. Obviously, long season for both tennises, but good to see them both on the winning side and above 500 currently. And then track and field this past weekend in the Windy City Invitational. Most people go away from the Midwest, but we went there. 7 event winners, a lot of running sports, set 2 programs records, and track and field just keeps doing better. Every event they've had at least 2 event winners. That's pretty exciting. Like this is indoor, especially, so getting that back on track. Been pretty good. So it's a really good start to spring sports. Let's hopefully see baseball continue it, and then basketball keep going.
Yeah. Men's soccer had a losing record. Shout out, Bob. And women's soccer went 10-6. So yeah, men's soccer is the only one so far that has had a losing season in the team sports. Interesting.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we'll see after the rest of the spring sports wrap up. But I'd like to see the last time we've been that successful over the course of an athletic year. Still a lot of time to go, so don't want to count chickens yet. But so far, it's been a pretty damn good year.
Yeah, absolutely. With that being said, let's wrap up. Get out of here. Be nice to people, I think, is probably a good thing. It's Valentine's Day tomorrow, or today when you're listening to it.
That was pretty cool.
Just be kind. I think that'll go a long way. Make sure you get someone flowers. Tell someone that you love them. Give someone a hug. If you don't have anybody to love or hug, go to the basketball game. Because why not? They're giving away replica jerseys tomorrow as well. So do that. Sunday, FAU. Try to pull off this triple header of baseball, softball, and men's basketball.
We should make Stieg do it like on assignment. and videotape and have somebody videotape the whole thing.
Yeah. That'd be pretty choice there. Bunch of bat and ball sports this weekend, even with the 2 other teams coming down for baseball. Basically, kind of running like a miniature softball tournament there down at the baseball field. So lots of stuff to go on down there at the athletics district. So be sure to check that out. With that, thanks for tuning in. As always, go Bulls.
Go Bulls.